Being a dancer is more than just doing movements. It's about telling a story, embracing passion, culture, and honoring those who inspire us. I'm Kyla Jones.
And I'm Alana Lang. And today we're joined by an incredible guest, Interim Director for Penn State's School of Theater, a dancer, a trailblazer, and she's made a profound impact creating space for dancers of all ages, both globally and locally. Please join us in welcoming Miss Kikora Franklin. Hi, we are so excited to have you in the studio with us. I would love to begin by hearing where the origins of your passion for dance came from.
Awesome. First, let me start by thanking you for inviting me. I'm so excited to also be here. My passion and love for dance started when I was a little girl. My mom is also a dancer and choreographer. So from a very young age, I was surrounded by the arts and expression and movement and dance. And my father loves music. And so I have stories that my parents tell me of turning on the radio and just moving around with my eyes closed and just moving intuitively and spiritually to music. And since my mom is a dancer, she opened a dance studio in the town we were living in Georgia. And I started dancing when I was 3 or 4 years old. And it's been a part of my life throughout my entire life, starting, at that age and beyond.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier, just a follow-up question, how dance has gotten you through different seasons. Could you speak a little more about that?
Yeah, so even as a young child, I always felt very, emotional. I was very sensitive. And I remember even being called sensitive by people and adults, and I didn't know what that meant. But it was just, I feel very deeply. And I started to notice at a young age that when I expressed myself through movement, it felt like a space that could contain all of my emotions. And if I didn't have the words to articulate what I was experiencing, is that physical movement in a very free way gave me a space to be able to be at home with myself.
Absolutely.
Yes. And one of your many dance styles that you have taught and also that you do is Moja. So would you please share how Moja dance style came to be and how you're carrying the tradition on?
Absolutely. So Moja is a dance style that blends multiple forms into one. So it includes modern dance, jazz dance, West African, and hip hop. As I mentioned, my mother, Terry Ajile Axum, is a dancer and choreographer, and she is the progenitor and the creator of Moja dance technique. And she was inspired by many Black women before her who used dance as a means of expression, as a means of survival, and a means of continuing African American culture. And she studied ballet, modern, and different types of dance, and then decided to use Moja as a way to express her unique experience as a Black woman in America through movement. And so Moja is personal because it's a form that my mother created and taught. And then when I came here to Penn State, it's something I chose to embrace and expand on by teaching it, and then also using it in my unique way and using it in my unique voice as well.
Yes, and as you are an educator and so is your mom, I'd like to pivot our discussion a little bit to how, as an educator for students, knowing that State College is a predominantly white institution, what was community like when you moved here, and how did it shift once you started Roots of Life?
Good question. So community, when I came here around 20 years ago, that dates me. Ooh. So about 20 years ago, I came with my husband. We came to Penn State because he was actually going back to school. And at that time, I didn't find a lot of things in the community that mirrored what my experience was coming from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm from. And that's a lot of where the work comes from that I do. My mother's dance company is there. And I felt myself looking, searching, trying to find what's here that I can involve myself in. And my kid, I had one child at the time. And after I kept looking and thinking that something was going to pop up, I realized that I had to create what I wanted to experience because it wasn't here at that time. And so Roots of Life, which you mentioned, is an arts organization in the school district that I was able to create alongside students in the school district and a fellow teacher. Her name is Deborah Daggs. and another community person, an artist, Jeff Martin, who is a drummer. We came together and we started working with students, and they responded with joy and loving to learn through arts and education. And that's what allowed Roots of Life to continue to grow in this community, is because the students were thirsty and hungry for something that had culture, had meaning, and that they were also able to express themselves. And so that was a big part of it, listening to what students were responding to. So not just coming and say, hey, you're going to do this. It's having a conversation with young people and also hearing that they have something to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of being an educator. It's not coming to spoon feed or to dictate what I think you need to know. It's asking questions and being curious about who's in the room with you, so that you can have, I would say, a reciprocal relationship. So students are saying, this is what I want to learn about, or this is what's bothering me. And then I say, okay, well, how can we articulate that through your body and through movement? And students become partners in their education. And that's what I believe education is you empowering students to know that they are partners in what they learn for themselves, so they can go out into the world and do their good work with what they learn.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and for the record, I have so much admiration for Ms. Kikora, because I was a beneficiary of participating in Roots of Life. I'm right there on the screen.
Yes.
And I just want to talk about the impact that that's had on me firsthand, seeing that it gave me a space to belong in a predominantly white community, learning to express myself through movement, like you mentioned earlier. And I think it's been exciting. In this picture, we traveled to a school in Belfont to present what we had learned and share West African dance and hip hop with them. One of the signature songs of Roots of Life is "Get Up" by Mary Mary.
Yes.
And I think that's a metaphor of how you continue on after going through Roots of Life. You touched on it earlier, but I just wanted to see if there were any other impacts that you were proud of from your time working with Roots of Life.
Yes, and it's so interesting. Roots of Life is like the gift that keeps giving, because I continue to learn about the impact it had, and then continues to have, because, here you are, a student at Penn State, and you went through Roots of Life when you were a student in the school district here in State College. And so as I was starting, I really was not fully aware of the impacts. I just knew that there was a synergy between students and community and myself and the teachers that were involved. That was just a felt experience. And then after the years of observing and witnessing the success of students like yourself and my son Kyrie and Capri and all the students that came through the program, and to see how you all became leaders in your respective fields. So even if you weren't in arts and performing, you became a leader in comm, because you learned these skills about who you were as a person through Roots of Life. And I just feel like the impact just continues to give, because now there's a new group of students and they're younger, and I'm having to, teach them from, the ground up. Yeah. But that's also a learning experience. And I also learned that I enjoy the process of learning from students, because I don't always know what it is that you all are curious about. And so you all are telling me no, don't do that. That's not cool. And I'm like, okay, if I'm trying to do a TikTok dance. And so there's education that goes both ways. And it's just been a wonderful, I would say, synergy and call and response that happens with Roots of Life. And it continues. And it's probably been one of the most powerful experiences for me, coming from Atlanta, which is a much more, I would say, diverse community. But then being able to start to generate that same kind of energy, coming to what as you describe, a predominantly white area. And I will say Penn State in this area has grown, and it has become much more colorful in all the beautiful ways in the years that I've been here. And so it's been amazing to be a part of that evolution and a part of that growth.
And as you said, that you have curated leadership, creativity, and have seen that State College has became so colorful. And even with Charles Dumont as the first African-American theater professor, until now you being the interim director of the School of Theater, which is absolutely amazing. And for people like myself who are a part of the School of Theater, it's really nice to see that reflection of people that look like us. So any final words of encouragement for the multicultural Penn State community?
Absolutely. I would say, don't forget your roots. So Roots of Life has been a theme for today, like we were talking about. Don't forget where you come from, what your purpose is. your value and what your voice is and what it has to contribute to the world. Own that, celebrate that, share it. And in your scope and your journey of life, you're going to sometimes be holding a ladder to help somebody climb. And then other times you're going to be on the ladder climbing. And so don't forget to reach back once you reach these milestones in your life. And in this time, we're all concerned about, oh, I have to reach this thing. I have to ring the bell. I need to get these many likes. I need this amount of recognition, award. But what I would say is root yourself in a purpose. Root yourself in something that you know is your passion, that you love, that you can gain from, but then you can share and give back. Be of service. How can you be of service to this world and to hopefully a creator? I believe in a creator, and I want to say I know that we separate church and state, but I would not be here but for the creator that made me. And I'm grateful to people like Charles Dumas and my ancestors and my family and the people that rooted me in who I am so that I can share that with everyone here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Kikora, for
You're
joining us
welcome.
here today. I hope that you guys feel inspired as much as we have.
And we thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more impactful stories like this. We'll see you next time here on Culture Central.